The night was dark and stormy in the small town of Cedar Point. Rain fell hard from the sky, and strong winds made the sea wild and dangerous. Olivia Mason stood alone in the old lighthouse, watching the ocean through her binoculars. She had once been a rescue swimmer in the Navy, but now she kept the lighthouse working and watched for ships in trouble. Olivia liked her quiet life. Most nights, nothing happened. She would check the light, make sure it was shining bright to warn ships of the rocks, and then read a book or listen to the radio. But tonight felt different. The storm was worse than usual, and Olivia felt uneasy. She made another cup of coffee and returned to the window. The waves crashed against the rocks below, white foam spraying up into the darkness. Through the rain and fog, it was hard to see anything. But then something caught her eye. A strange light in the sky, moving fast. At first, Olivia thought it might be a plane in trouble, but the light moved in ways no plane could. It zigzagged across the sky, then suddenly dropped toward the ocean. The light was blue and pulsing, unlike any aircraft Olivia had ever seen. "What on earth?" she whispered, pressing the binoculars harder against her eyes. The strange light hit the water with a splash that was visible even through the storm. Olivia didn't hesitate. If something had crashed, there might be people who needed help. She grabbed her emergency bag, put on her waterproof gear, and rushed down the spiral stairs of the lighthouse. Outside, the wind nearly knocked her over. Rain stung her face as she ran to the small boat she kept for emergencies. It would be dangerous to go out in this storm, but Olivia had saved people from rough seas before. She knew what she was doing. She pushed the boat into the water and started the motor. The waves lifted and dropped the small boat, but Olivia handled it with skill. She headed toward where she had seen the light crash, using the lighthouse beam to guide her. As she got closer, Olivia saw pieces of something floating on the water. They weren't wood or metal from any normal boat or plane. These pieces glowed with a soft blue light. They were made of a material Olivia had never seen before, like metal but smoother, with patterns that seemed to move when she looked at them. Olivia circled the area, searching for survivors. The glowing pieces led to a spot where the water bubbled strangely. Something big must have sunk there. Olivia dropped anchor and prepared to dive. The water was cold and dark, but Olivia had a powerful underwater flashlight. She dove deep, following the trail of glowing pieces. What she found made her nearly lose her breath. Under the water was a craft unlike anything made on Earth. It was partly broken open, with more of the strange glowing material around it. The craft had no wings like a plane or propellers like a submarine. It was oval-shaped and smooth with markings that reminded Olivia of star patterns. But what shocked her most was what she saw inside the broken craft. Through a crack in what looked like a window, Olivia saw a woman. At least the being looked somewhat like a woman, but clearly wasn't human. Her skin was silvery and seemed to glow with tiny lights, like stars embedded in her flesh. Her face was beautiful but strange, with larger than normal eyes and no hair on her head. She wore a tight-fitting suit that seemed to be made of the same material as the craft, and she was alive. Olivia could see her moving slightly, trapped inside. Without thinking about how impossible this all was, Olivia's rescue training took over. She swam to the crack in the craft and tried to make it bigger. The material was surprisingly light and broke away easily in the damaged area. The water rushed in, and Olivia reached for the alien woman. The being's eyes opened. Eyes like swirling galaxies with depths Olivia couldn't comprehend. They stared at each other for a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity. Olivia felt something pass between them, a connection she couldn't explain. Then the alien woman's eyes closed again. She was unconscious but alive. Olivia pulled her free from the craft and swam upward, holding the alien close. It was hard work in the rough water, but Olivia was strong and determined. She got them both back to the boat and lifted the alien woman aboard. Up close, the being was even more fascinating. Her skin glowed with changing patterns of light like stars moving across the night sky. She breathed, but very slowly. She was hurt, with a wound on her side that leaked a liquid that looked like Liquid silver. Olivia covered the alien with a blanket and headed back to shore as fast as possible. All the while, her mind raced. She had just found an alien, a real alien from another world. What should she do? Tell the authorities? Call the military? The news? But as she looked at the beautiful, helpless being in her boat, Olivia knew she couldn't do any of those things. Something told her that this alien would be in danger if other humans found out about her. She would be taken away, studied, maybe even hurt. No, Olivia decided. She would keep this secret for now. She would take the alien to the lighthouse, tend to her wounds, and wait for her to wake up. Then they could figure out what to do next. The trip back to shore seemed to take forever. When they finally arrived, Olivia had to carry the alien up the rocky path to the lighthouse. Despite being slim, the alien was surprisingly heavy. Olivia struggled but managed to get her inside and up to the bedroom. She laid the alien on her bed and examined the wound more closely. The silver liquid had stopped flowing, and the wound seemed to be closing on its own. The alien's skin continued to pulse with light, and occasionally her whole body would glow brighter, then dim again, like a heartbeat of light. Olivia cleaned the wound anyway, using clean water and bandages. She didn't know if human medicine would help an alien, but it was all she had. Then she sat beside the bed and watched the rise and fall of the alien's chest as she breathed. "Who are you?" Olivia whispered. "Where did you come from?" There was no answer. Outside, the storm continued to rage. Inside, Olivia kept watch over a being from another world, wondering what would happen when those galaxy eyes opened again. For 3 days, the alien woman did not wake up. Olivia stayed close to the lighthouse, only leaving to buy more food and supplies from the small store in town. She told nobody about her unusual guest. Each day, she checked the news for reports of a strange crash in the ocean, but there was nothing. The alien's wound healed quickly. By the second day, there was no sign it had ever been there. Sometimes the alien would move in her sleep or make soft sounds in a language unlike any Olivia had heard before. The sounds were musical, like singing more than speaking. Olivia slept on the couch downstairs, giving the alien her bed. She spent hours just watching the strange visitor, wondering about her world and how she had come to Earth. Was it an accident? Was she running from something? Or was she an explorer who never meant to land on this planet at all? On the morning of the 4th day, Olivia woke up to find the alien gone from the bed. Worried, she rushed upstairs but stopped at the bedroom door. The alien was standing by the window, looking out at the ocean where her ship had crashed. The storm had passed and the morning sun made her silvery skin shine. "Hello?" Olivia said softly, not wanting to scare her. The alien turned, those galaxy eyes focused on Olivia, studying her. Then she touched her own chest and said, "Nix." Her voice was like music. "Nix," Olivia repeated. "Is that your name?" She pointed to the alien, then to herself. "I'm Olivia." "Olivia," Nix said, the word sounding strange and beautiful in her musical voice. Over the next few hours, they tried to communicate. Nix drew pictures with a pen and paper Olivia gave her. She drew stars and planets, then pointed up. She drew her ship, then made a crashing motion with her hands. Olivia nodded to show she understood. "You crashed. I pulled you out." Nix seemed to want something. She kept pointing to the ocean and making urgent sounds. Finally, Olivia understood. "You want to go back to your ship?" Nix nodded. Later that day, when it was dark and nobody would see them, Olivia took Nix to the beach. The alien moved gracefully despite being in a strange world. She looked at everything with interest. The trees, the rocks, even simple things like Olivia's flashlight. At the beach, Nix pointed to the water and made a diving motion. Olivia shook her head. "It's too deep. We need the boat." They took Olivia's small boat out to where the ship had crashed. Nix dove into the water without hesitation. Olivia worried and was about to dive in after her when Nix surfaced, holding a small device that looked like a smooth, glowing stone. Back at the lighthouse, Nix activated the device. It floated in the air and projected light that formed into strange symbols. Nix touched the symbols, and suddenly the device spoke in English. Translation. Matrix activated, Earth language identified, English. Olivia stared in amazement as Nix began to speak, and the device translated her musical language. "I thank you for saving my life," Nix said through the translator. "You showed great courage." "You're welcome," Olivia replied, still shocked to be having a conversation with an alien. "What happened? Why did you crash?" Nix's face became serious. "I was attacked. My ship was damaged." She paused, then added, "I am not supposed to be here. This planet is under observation only." "Observation?" Olivia asked. "You mean aliens have been watching Earth?" Nix nodded. "For many centuries. My people, the Asterian Collective, study developing worlds. We watch, we learn, but we do not interfere." "Until now," Olivia said. "Yes, this is a serious breach of our laws, but I had no choice." Nix's eyes dimmed slightly, showing what Olivia thought might be sadness or worry. "I was attacked by the Draconis. They are enemies of my people." "Why did they attack you?" Nix hesitated, then reached into a hidden pocket in her suit. She pulled out a small crystal that glowed with intense blue light. "For this, the quantum resonance key. It is valuable technology." Olivia looked at the crystal. It seemed to be pulsing with energy, almost alive. "What does it do?" "It allows instant travel between distant stars. In the wrong hands, it could be used to invade worlds, to move armies across the galaxy in moments." Nix put the crystal away. "The Draconis would use it to conquer. They would come to your world too, eventually." Olivia felt a chill. What had seemed like a simple rescue was becoming something much bigger and more dangerous. "Are they looking for you, the Draconis?" "Yes," Nix said simply. "They will come. They know I crashed on this planet. They will search until they find me or the key. What will you do?" "I must contact my people, but my communications were damaged in the crash." Nix looked at Olivia with those galaxy eyes. "I need your help." Olivia should have been scared. She should have told Nix to leave, to take her alien problems somewhere else. But there was something about Nix that made Olivia trust her. And if what Nix said was true, Earth itself might be in danger. "I'll help you," Olivia said. "What do you need?" "Materials to repair my communicator. Some can be found in human technology, others—" Nix pointed to the ocean again. "I must retrieve more parts from my ship." They spent the rest of the night making plans. Nix explained what she needed: certain metals, power sources, and tools. Some were common on Earth, others Olivia had never heard of. They would have to improvise. As dawn approached, Olivia made breakfast. Nix watched with interest as Olivia cooked eggs and toast. "You eat the offspring of other creatures?" Nix asked, looking at the eggs. "These aren't fertilized," Olivia explained. "They would never have become birds." She offered some to Nix, who sniffed it cautiously before taking a small bite. "Strange," Nix said, "but not unpleasant." As they ate, Olivia asked more questions. She learned that Nix's people lived much longer than humans, that they had visited Earth many times over thousands of years, and that they had technology humans could barely imagine. "Why do you look so much like humans?" Olivia asked. "I mean, you're clearly not human, but you have 2 arms, 2 legs, a head." "Many intelligent species in the galaxy have similar forms," Nix explained. "It is an efficient design for tool users, but there are others very different from either of us." After breakfast, Olivia went into town to buy some of the materials Nix needed. While she was gone, she worried constantly that someone would discover the alien in her lighthouse. But when she returned, Nix was safely inside, studying Olivia's books with great interest. "Your written language is fascinating," Nix said. "So different from ours." That night they returned to the crash site. Nix dove down to her ship and brought back more pieces of equipment. Some were damaged beyond repair, but others could be used to build the communicator. Back at the lighthouse, they worked together. Nix directed while Olivia helped, learning alien technology as they went. It was strange and wonderful, like nothing Olivia had ever seen. Parts moved on their own. Metals changed shape with just a touch and lights danced between components. On my world, Nick said as they worked, I am a scout. I fly alone to dangerous places gathering information. You're brave, Olivia said. Nix looked at her with those galaxy eyes. As are you. Not many would dive into a storm to save a stranger. Fewer still would help that stranger when they learned she was not of their world. Olivia felt herself blush. It was the right thing to do. Your kindness is rare and precious, Nick said. In any world. As the night went on, Olivia felt a growing connection to this alien visitor. Despite their differences, they understood each other. Both were watchers, observers of the world around them. Both were brave when needed, and both now shared a secret that could change everything. A week passed, and strange things began to happen in Cedar Point. The town's power would suddenly go out, then come back on minutes later. Car engines stopped working for no reason. Cell phones lost signal or showed strange symbols on their screens. Olivia noticed these things when she went into town for supplies. People were talking, wondering what was happening. Some blamed the old power lines. Others thought it was solar flares. Nobody suspected aliens. But Olivia knew better. When she told Nix about the problems, the alien looked worried. They are here, Nick said simply. The Draconis. They are scanning for my technology. Olivia felt a chill. They came to Earth? How do you know? These disruptions are caused by their scanning technology. They are looking for energy signatures, similar to my ship or the quantum key. Nix's galaxy eyes seemed darker now, filled with concern. We must be careful. They cannot detect us here because of the lighthouse's thick stone walls, but if we leave... What do they look like? Olivia asked. Will I know if I see one? They can change their appearance, Nix explained. They might look human, but their eyes will give them away. They glow red in darkness like embers. That night, Olivia couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about aliens hunting them, walking among humans in disguise. The wind rattled the lighthouse windows, making her jump at every sound. Nix was still working on the communicator. Parts of it now floated in the air, connected by threads of light. It was beautiful but strange, like everything about Nix. How close are you to finishing? Olivia asked. Close, Nix said, but I need one more component. It is still in my ship. She looked at Olivia. We must retrieve it tomorrow night. The next day, Olivia noticed a new development. Military vehicles were driving through town. Men in uniform were asking questions, showing pictures of the ocean where Nix had crashed. They claimed to be conducting training exercises, but Olivia knew they were looking for the crashed alien ship. When she returned to the lighthouse, she told Nix. Your military has detected the crash site, Nix said. This complicates things. Will they find your ship? Eventually. The Draconis will find it first, though. They have better technology. Nix paused. We must move quickly. That night, they took Olivia's boat out again. The ocean was calm, with a full moon reflecting on the water. They reached the crash site and dropped anchor. There were no other boats around, but Olivia felt exposed, as if eyes were watching from the darkness. Nix prepared to dive. She wore Olivia's spare wetsuit, which looked strange against her silvery skin. Be careful, Olivia said. The military might have put underwater cameras or sensors down there. Nix nodded and dove into the black water. Olivia waited, scanning the horizon for other boats. Minutes passed. 5, then 10, then 15. Olivia grew worried. What if Nix had been captured? What if the Draconis had found her? Just as Olivia was about to dive in herself, Nix surfaced, gasping for air. She climbed into the boat quickly. We must go, she said urgently. Now. Olivia started the engine and turned the boat toward shore. What happened? The Draconis. They were at the crash site. I barely avoided them. Nix held up a small, glowing device. But I got what we needed. As they sped back to shore, Olivia noticed lights on the water behind them. Another boat was following them. Nix, she said, pointing. The alien looked back, her galaxy eyes widening. Faster, Olivia. We must reach land. Olivia pushed the boat's engine to its limit. They raced across the water, the other boat gaining on them. As they neared the shore, Olivia steered toward a different beach away from the lighthouse. We can't lead them to our hiding place, she explained. They beached the boat and ran into the forest that lined the shore. Behind them, the other boat also reached the beach. Figures jumped out, human-looking but moving too quickly, too smoothly. In the moonlight, their eyes glowed red. Draconis, Nyx whispered. They ran through the trees, trying to be quiet while moving quickly. The forest was dark, roots and branches threatening to trip them with every step. Olivia knew these woods from childhood, which gave them an advantage. She led Nyx along hidden paths, through a stream to hide their scent, and finally to an old cabin she knew had been abandoned for years. They slipped inside the dusty cabin and hid, listening. Outside, they could hear movement, things passing through the forest that didn't sound quite human. Strange clicking noises like insects, but louder, echoed through the trees. They communicate like that when hunting, Nyx whispered, her voice barely audible. They can track by body heat. Will they find us? This old building has been cold for a long time. It might mask our heat signatures, but we cannot stay long. They waited in silence. Hours passed. Eventually, the strange sounds moved away, deeper, into the forest. Olivia and Nyx slipped out of the cabin and took a long, roundabout path back to the lighthouse, always staying under the cover of trees. By dawn, they were back in the safety of the thick stone walls. Nyx immediately began working with the new component, adding it to the floating communicator. It will be ready soon, she said. Then I can call for help. But they had another problem. The news on Olivia's radio reported that the military had set up a perimeter around the town. They were checking everyone going in or out, claiming it was a security exercise. Cedar Point was effectively under lockdown. They know something crashed, Olivia said. They're looking for alien technology. Or for me, Nyx added quietly. That afternoon, there was a knock at the lighthouse door. Olivia's heart raced. She motioned for Nyx to hide upstairs with the communicator. When she opened the door, 2 men in military uniforms stood there. They looked official, with serious faces. And clipboards. Ms. Mason? One of them asked. Olivia Mason? We're conducting a security survey of the area. May we come in? I'm in the middle of maintenance work, Olivia said, trying to sound normal. The lighthouse is a mess right now. This will only take a moment, the man insisted. His partner was looking past Olivia, trying to see inside. I'd prefer to do this another time, Olivia said firmly. Please come back tomorrow. The men exchanged glances. Ms. Mason, we have reports that you were out on your boat the night of the storm last week. Did you see anything unusual? Any lights in the sky or objects in the water? Olivia kept her face neutral. No, nothing unusual. I was checking the channel markers, that's all. And you've been going out at night quite a bit since then, the second man said. It wasn't a question. I work nights. I'm the lighthouse keeper. Olivia crossed her arms. Is there something specific you're looking for? The first man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Just routine questions, Ms. Mason. We'll be back tomorrow to complete our survey. They left, but Olivia knew they would be watching the lighthouse now. She closed the door and leaned against it, her heart pounding. Upstairs, Nyx had heard everything. They suspect something, she said when Olivia joined her. Yes, we need to finish the communicator and get you help before they come back. They worked through the day, Nyx directing as Olivia helped. The communicator was nearly complete, its parts now forming a complex pattern of light and metal that hovered above the floor of Olivia's bedroom. As night fell, they heard new sounds outside, vehicles arriving, men talking quietly. Through the window, Olivia could see military trucks parked on the road to the lighthouse. Men with flashlights were spreading out, surrounding the building. They're not waiting until tomorrow, Olivia said, her voice tight with fear. Nyx looked out the window, then back at the communicator. It needs more time to calibrate, 1 hour, maybe 2. We don't have that long, Olivia thought quickly. Is there another way for you to get help? Nyx was silent for a moment, her galaxy eyes deep in thought. Then she reached into her suit and pulled out the quantum resonance key, the crystal that had started all of this. There is one way, she said slowly. But it is dangerous, and there is something I haven't told you, Olivia. Olivia looked at her. What? I am not just a scout. Nyx's voice was serious. I am important to my people. My full name and title is Nyx Celestia, Princess of the 7th House of Asteria, the daughter of our ruler. Olivia stared at her. You're a princess? An alien princess? Yes. That is why the Draconis hunt me so fiercely, and why this key is so important. It belongs to the royal house alone. Nyx held the crystal up. It pulsed, with blue light. With this, I might be able to send a signal without the communicator, but it will reveal our location to everyone. The Draconis, your military, everyone. Outside, the soldiers were getting closer. Flashlight beams swept across the windows. Do it, Olivia said. We're out of options. Nyx nodded. She held the crystal in both hands and closed her eyes. The crystal began to glow brighter, pulsing in rhythm with the light patterns on Nyx's skin. The air in the room seemed to vibrate, and Olivia's ears popped as if the pressure had changed. Suddenly, the crystal shot a beam of intense blue light straight up, passing through the ceiling as if it weren't there. The beam reached into the sky, visible for miles. What did you do? Olivia asked, amazed. I sent a royal distress signal, Nyx said, looking exhausted. If any of my people are near this system, they will come. She looked at Olivia with sad, galaxy eyes. But I have also told the Draconis exactly where we are. Nyx grabbed Olivia's hand. We must leave. Now. Her voice was urgent but calm. Where can we go? Olivia asked, looking out the window at the soldiers approaching from all sides and the red light descending from the sky. Nyx pointed to the floor. Down. Is there a way under the lighthouse? Olivia nodded. There's an old tunnel. It was used to bring supplies during storms in the old days. She moved quickly to her closet and pushed aside her clothes, revealing a small wooden door. It leads to a cave on the other side of the point. I found it years ago. They gathered what they could, Olivia's emergency bag, some food, and Nyx's translator device. The communicator was too large to move, so they left it behind. Nyx carefully put the quantum key back inside her suit. As they slipped through the small door and into the dark tunnel beyond, they heard the main door of the lighthouse burst open. Heavy boots stomped on the wooden floors below. The tunnel was narrow and damp, with rough stone walls. Olivia led the way with a flashlight, moving as quickly as she could in the confined space. Behind them, they could hear shouts as the soldiers discovered the empty bedroom and the alien communicator. They will follow us, Nyx said. How long is this tunnel? About half a mile, Olivia replied. It comes out in a sea cave. We can take my old kayak from there. I keep it hidden for emergencies. They moved as quickly as they could, the tunnel gradually sloping downward. Water dripped from the ceiling and the air smelled of salt and seaweed. After about 10 minutes, they heard a distant rumble. What is that? Olivia asked, stopping to listen. The Draconis ship has landed, Nyx said grimly. They are powerful, Olivia. More advanced than your military. There will be fighting. They pressed on. Finally, the tunnel opened into a larger cave. Moonlight filtered in through an opening that faced the sea. Waves crashed against rocks outside, spraying mist into the cave. Olivia's old kayak was there, hidden under a tarp. It's only big enough for one person, Olivia said, pulling the tarp away. We will manage, Nyx replied. Where should we go? Olivia thought quickly. South, along the coast. There's a place called Black Rock Beach. It's isolated with lots of caves. We can hide there until your people come. They dragged the kayak to the water's edge. Above them, they could see lights in the sky. Not stars, but moving objects. More ships coming down. We must hurry, Nyx said, looking up with worry in her galaxy eyes. They launched the kayak into the rough water. It was a tight fit with both of them, but they managed. Olivia paddled hard, moving them away from the cave and south along the rocky coastline. Behind them, the night sky was lit up with strange lights, red from the Draconis ships and now new lights, blue and silver. "My people," Nick said, seeing the blue lights. "They received my signal." As they paddled, they could see the battle, beginning in the sky above Cedar Point. Strange craft moved at impossible speeds, firing weapons that looked like streams of colored light. Explosions lit up the clouds. On land, more lights and the sounds of what might have been gunfire suggested that the human military was also involved. "This is my fault," Nick said quietly. "I have brought war to your world. You didn't mean to crash here," Olivia said, still paddling hard. "You were attacked, remember?" They continued south, staying close to the shore but far enough out to avoid the breaking waves. The kayak was taking on water and Olivia's arms were getting tired, but fear and adrenaline kept her going. After nearly an hour, they reached Black Rock Beach. It was a stretch of shore dominated by tall, dark rock formations. Sea caves dotted the base of the cliffs. Olivia guided the kayak into one of the larger caves where a small sandy area allowed them to beach the boat. Inside the cave, they were hidden from view, but the sounds of the distant battle were still audible, echoing off the water. "What now?" Olivia asked, catching her breath. "We wait," Nick said. "My people will defeat the Draconis. Then they will search for me." They sat in silence for a while, listening to the far-off sounds of combat. The cave was cold and damp, but they were safe for the moment. "Nix," Olivia said finally, "you said you're a princess. What does that mean for your people?" Nix's skin pulsed with soft light as she spoke. "My mother is the High Queen of the Asterian Collective. We rule many star systems, hundreds of worlds. I am her only daughter, her heir." "So you're not just any princess, you're like the princess." "Yes. That is why the Draconis want me. If they capture me, they can demand concessions from my mother. And if they take the quantum key—" Nix touched the place in her suit where the crystal was hidden. "That would be worse. It is our most sacred technology, passed down through the royal line for generations." "What does it actually do?" Olivia asked. "You said something about instant travel?" Nix nodded. "It creates what you might call wormholes, passages through space-time. A ship with this key can travel any distance in moments, but it does more than that." She hesitated. "It can also be used as a weapon. If misused, it could tear a hole in reality itself." Olivia tried to imagine such power. "And the Draconis want to use it as a weapon?" "Yes. They would conquer every world they could reach, including Earth eventually." They fell silent again. Outside the cave, the tide was rising, water creeping higher up the sand. In the distance, the battle seemed to be moving, the lights and sounds shifting further away. "They're leaving Cedar Point," Olivia observed. "Moving out to sea." "The Draconis." "No, I am not there anymore," Nix explained. "They are searching, but they will not find us easily in these caves. The rocks contain minerals that block their scanners." As the night went on, they talked more. Nix told Olivia about her home world, a place of crystal cities and endless skies, where people lived for hundreds of years and technology was so advanced it seemed like magic. She spoke of her duties as princess, the diplomatic mission she had undertaken, and her secret passion for exploration that had led her to become a scout despite her royal status. In turn, Olivia told Nix about her life, growing up near the sea, joining the Navy to see the world, and finally returning to Cedar Point to find peace as the lighthouse keeper. She spoke of her love for the ocean, the solitude of the lighthouse, and her few friends in town who would now be caught in the middle of an alien conflict. "I'm worried about the people in Cedar Point," Olivia said. "Will they be hurt in this battle?" "My people will try to protect them," Nix assured her. "We have strict rules about minimizing harm to developing worlds. But the Draconis have no such rules." As dawn approached, the sounds of battle had faded. The sky was quiet now, though occasionally they would see a flash of light far out over the ocean. "I should check outside," Olivia said, standing up stiffly. See if it's safe. She walked to the mouth of the cave where the rising sun was just beginning to light the horizon. The beach was empty, the sea calm. No signs of military or aliens. But as she turned to go back inside, she saw them. 3 figures walking along the shore toward their cave. At first she thought they might be soldiers or even early morning beachcombers, but as they got closer she could see they weren't human. They were tall and thin, with skin that looked like burnished metal. They moved with a strange, fluid grace, almost like they were floating just above the sand, and their eyes glowed red in the dim light of dawn. Draconis. Olivia ducked back into the cave. Nix, she whispered urgently. They're coming. 3 of them, on the beach. Nix stood up immediately. We must hide deeper in the cave. They grabbed their few belongings and moved further into the darkness. The cave narrowed, then opened into a larger chamber. Water dripped from stalactites overhead, forming small pools on the stone floor. There's no way out back here, Olivia said, shining her flashlight around the chamber. Then we make our stand, Nix replied. From within her suit, she pulled out a small device Olivia hadn't seen before. It expanded in her hand, forming what looked like a weapon. You had that all along? Olivia asked. It was damaged in the crash. I repaired it while working on the communicator. Nix handed it to Olivia. It is simple to use. Point and think about firing. Olivia took the strange weapon. It was lighter than it looked and seemed to hum slightly in her hand. What does it do? It disrupts neural patterns. It will stun a Draconis, make them unconscious for a short time. It will not kill. Nix produced another weapon for herself, this one different in design. Mine is more powerful, she explained, but I have less control over it. I might kill with this, which I do not wish to do. They positioned themselves behind some large rocks, facing the entrance to the chamber. They could hear the Draconis, now their strange clicking language echoing through the cave. They know we are here, Nix whispered. They can sense the quantum key. The first Draconis appeared at the entrance to the chamber, tall and terrible with gleaming metallic skin and those burning red eyes. It made a sound that might have been a laugh when it saw them hiding behind the rocks. 2 more Draconis joined the first. They spread out, moving with that unnatural fluid grace. They spoke to each other in clicks and hisses, clearly planning their attack. They are saying they will take me alive, Nix translated quietly. But they don't care about you. They will kill you. Olivia gripped the alien weapon tighter. Let them try. Nix held the quantum key in both hands. The crystal pulsed faster, its blue light growing stronger until it was almost too bright to look at. The air around them began to vibrate, making Olivia's ears pop. Stand back, Nix warned. This will create a localized field disruption. Olivia stepped back, watching in amazement as the crystal in Nix's hands began to float, spinning slowly in the air. Beams of blue light shot out in all directions, then focused into a single, powerful beam that reached straight up into the sky. What are you doing? Olivia asked, shielding her eyes from the brightness. Activating a royal protocol, Nix explained, her voice strained with effort. Long ago, my ancestors placed guardians on Earth and other developing worlds, ships and warriors in stasis, hidden away, to be awakened in times of great need. The beam of light pulsed, sending what looked like a wave of energy across the sky. For a moment, nothing happened. Then in the distance, Olivia saw something impossible. A mountain was moving. About 5 miles down the coast, a rocky peak that had always been part of the landscape was changing. Rocks fell away, revealing something smooth and metallic beneath. It was a ship, enormous and ancient, that had been disguised as part of the natural terrain for who knew how long. The Guardian vessel, Nix said, pride in her voice, hidden on your world for 3,000 years. As they watched, the massive ship rose from its resting place, shedding dirt and rocks as it lifted into the air. It was beautiful and terrifying, shaped like a giant teardrop made of what looked like silver metal, with patterns of light running across its surface that reminded Olivia of the lights on Nix's skin. Your people have been here all along? Olivia asked, stunned by the revelation. Not actively. The Guardians sleep in stasis, awakening only when called by the royal key. Nix pointed to the quantum key, still floating and pulsing with light. They are my personal guard, sworn to protect the royal family. The ship moved toward them with impossible speed and grace for something so large. In seconds, it was hovering above the clifftop, a massive silver presence that blocked out the sun. A beam of silver light extended from the ship to the ground, near them. Within the beam, figures began to appear. Tall, elegant beings with the same silvery skin as Nix, but more heavily built and wearing what looked like armor made of liquid metal. They had the same galaxy eyes, though theirs were harder, more focused. Warriors, clearly, with weapons attached to their arms and chests. The first to step fully out of the beam was taller than the others. She moved toward Nix and knelt, placing a fist over her chest in what was clearly a salute or sign of respect. "Princess," she said, her voice similar to Nix's musical tones but deeper. "We answer your call." "Rise, Kara," Nix said. "There is no time for formalities. The Draconis are here, hunting me and the key." Kara stood. She looked at Olivia with those galaxy eyes, assessing and suspicious. "This human knows of us?" "She saved my life," Nix said firmly. "When my ship crashed, she dove into the sea and pulled me free. She has hidden me, helped me, and fought beside me against the Draconis. She is the reason I still live to call you." Kara studied Olivia for a moment longer, then inclined her head slightly. "Then we owe her a debt." She turned back to Nix. "Princess, we must get you to safety. The royal vessel is engaging the Draconis fleet in orbit, but more enemy ships are coming." "I will not leave yet," Nix said. "Not while this world is in danger because of me." Kara looked like she wanted to argue but didn't. Instead, she turned and issued orders to the other warriors. They spread out, taking defensive positions around the clifftop. Just in time, too. The first of the pursuing Draconis reached the top of the cliff path. It froze when it saw the assembled Asterian warriors, its red eyes widening in what might have been surprise or fear. More Draconis appeared behind it. They clicked and hissed to each other, clearly reassessing their strategy now that they were outnumbered. "Surrender," Kara called to them in their own clicking language, which the translator device rendered into English for Olivia's benefit. "You are outmatched," the lead Draconis laughed, that terrible sound of metal on metal. "We think not," it replied. "Look to the sky, Asterian fools." Everyone looked up. Above them, breaking through the clouds, came a massive ship, much larger than the Guardian vessel, shaped like a jagged blade and glowing with red energy. A Draconis battleship. "Their main fleet has arrived," Kara said grimly. "Princess, we must leave now." But before anyone could move, the air was filled with the sound of helicopters. From the direction of Cedar Point came a squadron of military aircraft, moving fast toward the clifftop. Behind them, ground vehicles were visible on the coastal road, racing toward their position. "Your human military approaches as well," Kara observed. "This becomes more complicated." Nix looked troubled. "I did not want to involve this world in our war. These humans are not ready for such conflict." The situation was escalating quickly. The Draconis on the clifftop were being reinforced by more troops arriving from different directions. The Draconis battleship was moving into position overhead, its weapon systems visibly charging. The human military forces were closing in, clearly intent on capturing or at least containing the alien presence they had detected. And in the middle of it all stood Nix, Olivia, and the small group of Asterian. "Warriors, what do we do?" Olivia asked, feeling overwhelmed by the scale of the conflict. Nix looked at her, those galaxy eyes filled with determination and something else, an idea forming. "There is one option," she said slowly, "but it is unprecedented. No human has ever—" "Princess, no," Kara interrupted, realizing what Nix was thinking. "It is forbidden. The ancient laws also say that a life debt must be honored," Nix countered, "and they give the royal family discretion in matters of grave importance." She turned to Olivia. "There is a way to end this. to protect your world. But it requires a sacrifice from you. What kind of sacrifice? Olivia asked. Not death, Nyx assured her, but transformation. You would become like me. Olivia stared at her. You can turn humans into Asterians? Not exactly, but with the quantum key and the technology aboard the Guardian vessel, I can elevate you, enhance your biology, expand your consciousness. You would remain human at your core, but gain abilities beyond human limits. Nyx's voice was serious. It has never been done before because we do not interfere with developing species. But in this case, it would give us an advantage, Kara added reluctantly. A transformed human could send a signal to your military that they would trust, call off their attack, and your enhanced abilities might tip the balance against the Draconis. Olivia looked from Nyx to Kara, then at the chaos developing around them. The military helicopters were getting closer. The Draconis battleship was charging weapons. The Draconis troops on the ground were preparing to attack. Will it hurt? She asked finally. Yes, Nyx said honestly. But I will be with you through it. Olivia took a deep breath. Do it. Nyx nodded. She spoke quickly to Kara in their musical language, and the warrior commander issued orders to her troops. The Asterians formed a protective circle around Nyx and Olivia. Nyx held out the quantum key, still floating and pulsing with blue light. Take it, she said to Olivia. Hold it between your hands and focus your thoughts on it. Olivia reached out and took the crystal. It was warm and seemed to vibrate with power. As she held it between her palms, she could feel it pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Now, close your eyes, Nyx instructed. She placed her silvery hands over Olivia's, sandwiching the crystal between them. Focus on the energy. Let it flow into you. Olivia closed her eyes. At first, nothing happened. Then she felt it. A warmth spreading from the crystal into her hands, up her arms, and throughout her body. The warmth became heat, then fire, then something beyond pain, a sensation of being unmade and remade at the same time. She wanted to scream but couldn't. Her entire being was transforming at the cellular level. She could feel her consciousness expanding, reaching beyond the limits of her human mind. Knowledge and understanding flooded in. The true nature of space and time, the history of the Asterian people, the fundamental forces that bound the universe together. Around them, the battle had begun. The Draconis troops attacked the Asterian defensive circle. Energy weapons fired, lighting up the clifftop. Above, the Draconis battleship exchanged fire with the Guardian vessel, filling the sky with beams of red and blue light. The human military held position just out of range, clearly uncertain how to proceed when faced with two advanced alien forces in conflict. Through it all, Nyx held onto Olivia's hands, guiding her transformation, lending her strength through the process. Kara and her warriors fought fiercely, keeping the Draconis at bay while the transformation completed. When it was over, Olivia opened her eyes. The world looked different now. Colors were more vivid, details sharper. She could see energy fields around living things, could sense the thoughts and emotions of those nearby. Looking down at her hands, she saw her skin now had a subtle silvery sheen, with faint patterns of light moving beneath the surface. It is done, Nyx said softly, releasing Olivia's hands. How do you feel? I feel... Olivia searched for words to describe the sensation. Everything. I feel connected to everything.